Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're specifically going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and how we progress as dungeon masters, and where do we go? Where do we go? How do we progress as dungeon masters? Where do we go to be better than where we were just even 1 minute before? Okay, all right, so. You can go right, you can go left. You're going to hit a channel that talks about Dungeons and Dragons from the perspective of let's talk about subclasses and let's talk about cutting goblins in half and do you do D12 or do you do a D8? Ooh, it's important, right? And of course, I just don't see Dungeons and Dragons that I see it as so much fundamentally more. And so when I'm looking to progress, I'm looking to get to that next level on dungeon mastering, right? And so I'm looking at the world and I'm looking at artists who have arrived, who are at that next level. They're looking at the thing they do at a level that nobody else looks at it, right? And then they progress and they make a leap to a place that no one else even knew was there, right? So one of these artists is Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. And he just finished 4th season on Atlanta, and it is one of the greatest pieces of human art that's ever been created. It's absolutely stunning. So season 4 of Atlanta is it has stopped being a situational comedy or a dramedy or a drama, whatever you want to categorize it, and it is just philosophy almost with the barest veneer of being entertainment, right? And it's Donald Glover really just philosophizing on where he is in life and where he's going next, right? And he brings up this so season 4, episode 3 of Atlanta gets into this question of the next level of rap. How does a rapper progress, right? So we're dungeon masters, and we are exactly like an MC. We are exactly like a mic controller. We have people who are listening to us, and they want us to entertain them. They want us to give them. They want there to be a really cool, fun. They want there to be entertainment, right? They want there to be joy. They want there to be some winsome experience, right? But they also expect a message, right? There needs to be something being said of importance, right? So Dungeon Masters are exactly like MCs. We're exactly like mic controllers. We're exactly like rappers, right? In a lot of ways. And you're like, oh, Scott, Dungeon Master, Dungeons & Dragons has nothing to do with rap. Sealed-eyed and flapping maw, Hasbro owns Death Row Records, right? Like, they bought it, right? Like, you do not know what you're talking about, right? Like, it is amazing, like, the things that Dungeons & Dragons touches, right? It's astounding. Like, if you ever told me the same company that owns Dungeons & Dragons would buy Death Row Records, I'd be like, that sounds outlandishly unlikely, right? And that's the world we live in, baby, right? Like, and this is why it's so frustrating for me to hear, settled, ignorant dungeon masters just not seeing what Dungeons & Dragons is, okay? And so here's where we go, right? We arrive, so Atlanta dives in, right? And what Atlanta says is so Atlanta is a fictional story, but it's not so fictional. Like, Donald Glover is legit a rapper and had a huge hit, which is This Is America. That was massive. But go check it out. It's got like hundreds of millions of downloads, maybe 1 billion, right? Like, it's, he's a full-on rapper as well as an actor, right? And everybody's hopeful for Miles Morales, right? But I think the window on that's passed. So, but he's a genius. He is an absolute genius. And so he looks at rap in season 4, episode 3 of Atlanta, and we look at Paperboy, and Paperboy is a rapper, right? And so, but Paperboy is a rapper at the end of his career, okay? And so he wants to know, what do I do next? What's the next level for me, right? And he's like, and he meets another producer, right? He meets a producer who's called Bunk. And Bunk says, okay, here's the flow. He just breaks it down. He goes, this is the flow, right? You drop as a young buck, you drop your records and you make your money. You get your paper, right? You buy your Lambo, you buy your gold chain, right? We get it. This has been done a million times. We've all seen it, right? That's the start, okay? But now you OG, you old school gangster, right? Like you literally old, right? And so you're just squeezing out a little bit. The new young bucks respect you, and you get a few young heads who are going to be like excited about just hearing a little bit of old rap, and then you get your old followers, but you on the way down, right? So what you need to do is this new model, and Bunk's like, hey, I'm working with this crew of producers, rappers, entrepreneurs who are essentially building and exploring and determining what's next for rap, right? And how you get to that next level. You should come check it out. So Paperboy comes, checks it out, right? And they connect him to another guy, and they're all in a room, and they say, okay, we're gonna break it down. Let's get the brass tacks. What's next level for so you got Young Buck, you got OG, right? What comes after that, right? And he says, YWA plus Grammys equals billions, right? And all of this is spot on. If you know rap, you know all of this. There ain't no fiction here. Like, they're talking real deal. Like, this is the progression, right? And so Paperboy goes, what's YWA? You gotta define your terms. I'm always in this, you hear me, I'm always using acronyms and, using neologisms, right? And I gotta define my terms. And so the guy breaks it down, he goes, young white avatar, all right? You are black, and black people birthed rap, and we have guardianed it through, through to the point where it is now, where rap is today, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And the reality is, American black people are the heart of rap, right? But the reality is, you had your Young Bucks days, you had your OG days. If you try to hold on to your OG days, you finished, you done, right? Maybe if you want, you can cash out and sit by a beach and drink some, some Long Island iced teas, whatever. But if you want next level, you want to stay proper, you want to stay on that grind, then you gotta go YWA plus Grammys equals billions. And YWA is Young White Avatar. And this was deep, right? Because this is exactly what Dr. Dre did, right? He was Young Buck, OG, YWA plus Grammys equals billions. That is Young White Avatar. That is Eminem, who ain't nothing but Dr. Dre's like Echo, right? White Echo, right? And then he won Grammys, and Dr. Dre became a billionaire, right? And that was the formula. They're like, this is how you do it, right? Like, you Young Buck it, you do it right. You OG, you take your old gangster, years, right? I guess OG now is West Coast, grognard. So you OG it, you do your old gangster years right, and then you move to YW, and then you move to the new formula, right? And this is Eminem as a formula. Young White Avatar plus Grammys equals billionaires for the original black rapper who brings the YWA up, right? So Paperboy gets Paperboy gets Yodel Boy, and he literally just gets some white kid who can yodel, puts him on a rap track, and then gets lucky when Yodel Boy dies and wins a Grammy. So so right there you're looking at the full formula, right? And he won a Grammy because he died. And there's two things in the world. There's two activities in the world where, and I could be wrong, I'm just saying that I think this is the case. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. NASCAR and rap. You die, you gold, baby. Like, forever. Everybody loves you. It's just the way it is. Number 3 on half the cars in the South, right? And everybody loves Tupac and Biggie, right? Because they dropped doing it. They dropped doing it, baby. That's it. Like, and that's the gold level in rap. Like, that's how it's done, right? Like it, and the show talked about this, right? And this is what I'm telling you, right? Don't stop thinking, right? like right now, you got a bunch of dungeon masters who are in their young buck days or in their OG days. They don't know what that next level is. They don't know what to do next. They don't know where they can go to put up bigger stories, better stories, to break through and make sure that every single player at the table is learning and growing. That's that next level, right? And the only way you get there is watching the best artists in the world, and not best as in like their execution is best as they are looking at the entire infrastructure on the thing. That's what I'm telling you. I am looking at the infrastructure of the D&D. I'm looking at the D, I'm looking at the N, I'm looking at the D. I'm looking at the infrastructure. I'm not looking at the surface, right? And I'm begging people to join me, right? Like, just stop thinking this is some silly little game about cutting goblins in half. Stop thinking this is about escapism, and realize that Dungeons & Dragons flat out is the secular height of emotional and intellectual evolution. It is the next level of platform, right? For the non-sacreds, it's the only way they get to something that allows them to progress forward, right? And I have a great heart for the seculars. I really do. Like, I'm covered. I'm sacred. I know where I'm going next, right? But there are people, all they're going to get is 95 years on this earth. That's it, right? And they need something meaningful and useful and purposeful, right? And I really feel that Dungeons & Dragons is it. And so I'm bringing this forward because, for one, if you're a Dungeon Master, you got to watch Atlanta. It's everything that we are focused on: politics, religion, culture, right? The best Dungeons & Dragons games today are about politics, religions, and cultures, how it's changed, who changes it, when it's changed, why it's changed, right? And so you got to watch season 4, episode 3 of Atlanta, and you got to realize this is where we're going. This is where we're landing, right? We're looking at how, I have run hundreds of games of Dungeons & Dragons, right? And I want my table to be top, like literally, I want to be one of the top 3 tables in the country, right? And it's going to be hard to get there, and the only way we get there is think in an innovative way, right? Find the next and make it a formula. All that's my humble opinion. I'm anxious to hear your humble opinion. I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.